Boy, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this one here because after last week on Sportswire Radio, which arguably may have been the greatest week in Sportswire Radio history, we now kick things off on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And today could be the day. So you know the drill. Hit the sub button for me. But tonight, our guest is from the land down under. And obviously, as you can see, I don't have Rhea Ripley on, but I've actually got somebody here that actually has some gold. A man that has not one, but 2 championships. He's the reigning, defending Wrestling Zero national champion. He's also one half of the tag team champions. He won the YouTube championship on his first day, and he might be the heir apparent to the Oyabun, the Shogun, Yoshi Matsuda. And Yoshi Matsuda only nearly attempted to break the internet in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit because he called his own shot and now wants to come to America, possibly, and have a match. I'll talk about that with our guest. I'll also talk about what is going on because in one corner, he's got an uncle that's training apart to go into PXW. He's got a cousin that now he's feuding with, and his cousin now wants gold, and his cousin seems like he's out for blood. And then on top of it, he's got this whole clan Matsuda that's now got a new member who was an old face, and I need a scorecard to keep up with things here in Wrestling Zero, and we're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about whatever else our guest has to say, because I can assure you this will be one you'll remember for a long time, especially after having Yoshi Matsuda Saturday on Sportswire Radio alongside a guest. Now, I don't know, Mr. Ryan, if you have a guest or two with you, but I can tell you that you've got plenty of people here that are waiting for you to tune in and kind of share your story with us. So I'm going to give you that introduction that everybody else has gotten. I know Mr. Matsuda and Mr. Ace Reed have gotten, and so many others, and especially maybe a family member or two that's here in the chat, and maybe a shout out for somebody who might be watching. Let's just say, how you doing, DD? But I can assure you, DD might have some very big DDs. But it's time to give our guest that introduction that the world has been waiting for, and especially since even an old friend who just messaged me, who hasn't heard from me in a long time, might be looking, what have I gotten myself into by watching this? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give you the introduction that the world has been waiting for. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one, Global Sports Show. He's the heir apparent to the Shogun, Yoshi Matsuda, reigning, defending Wrestling Zero national champion, one half of the Wrestling Zero tag team champions. His name is, simply put, the champ is here. Champ, how are we doing?
So good, thank you for asking.
Yes, that's what we do each show on Sportswire. We ask everybody how they're doing. That's the kind of you always start a conversation with. But how are we, champ?
it's weird. Like I've been watching obviously your interviews, and it's weird to be a part of one of them. Like
Yeah.
you just like the this just I just got a notification on my phone saying Sportswide just went live, and I'm like, yeah,
Thank you. Well, you know what's funny? I'm closing in on 1,000 subscribers, so I'm getting that. Actually, it's funny. I've been doing this for over 6 years, and I want to say hello to my buddy Barry Gutman. I haven't seen Barry since I don't even know when, and all of a sudden he messages me on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, what did I do? And all of a sudden I see him here, and I think he's like, what have I gotten myself into? But yeah, I've had people that have been tuning in that I never thought. My mother tuned into the show. She almost like thought the podcast when I started this years ago was like a joke. And here we are, and I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, welcome to the big leagues. Welcome to being on prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, Sportswire Radio.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's not just my uncle. My dad decided to tune in with us
Oh,
today.
well, we say thank you to him. And if you are here, please hit the sub button because I'm literally now this close away from 1,000 subscribers. And I'd really like to get to 1,000 because you could roast me. You could come on the air and you could roast me once I get to 1,000 subscribers. So who knows? Maybe you'll take over Sportswire.
Well, I do recommend you hitting that sub button. Please do get Mr. Bryce here to 1,000. He's done such a great job. I was watching your interview with Mr. Matsu the other day,
Yes.
and
Yes,
I
I know we'll get to
enjoyed
about
it.
that.
Um, it was interesting because I was the only one that, other than Matsu, that knew about Ace Reed.
Well, I've had Ace Reed on many times. I mean, I'm sure you knew that I've had Ace Reed on Sportswire before. I mean, some people know Ace Reed. They're actually Ace has been here like 4 times, but I know what you're saying though that not everybody that would have tuned in right away would have collect with the connection. Oh, I see what you're saying. You talked about Ace Reed as the surprise. I was like, Ace has been here before. What am I missing? I got you. Well, that was a surprise heard around the world. Yeah, so on TikTok, it got a lot of views actually.
Yeah, well, I knew about him being there that day. I knew about it, and wasn't surprised. I was like, I know it's interesting to see that everyone's like, who's under the mask, and just me sitting there like, oh, I
It was
know.
funny because off the air, I was like, Ace just liked my post on Instagram. I don't think it's him. And then 41 minutes later, hello there, Ace Reed. I was like, boy, how is that possible? And then we were just talking, and then it was, well, I should have seen it from a mile away, I suppose.
Well, I did see him live in the chat during your
Yes, he came in.
conversation.
Correct. Correct. Yep.
So I know he was trying to keep a low ball until it's a surprise, but it's real interesting. I've seen your interviews, and the fact that I got that message one day, hey, we would like you to join.
Well, actually, funny story is that you messaged me, and I didn't even get the message originally. You messaged me, and I read it like 5 days later, which is weird because I get messages all the time. And Barry's going to be like, boy, what is he remembers me last week, clean shaven and hair slicked back. And he sees this. He's like, boy, what in the world have I gotten myself into? But I was like, I didn't even know like why I didn't get your message, but then I got it. I was like, yeah, all right, we're gonna have a conversation. So yeah, that was it was interesting. But yes, it's definitely good to have you. I know a lot of people are here in the chat. So let's start off though with something that I didn't get a chance to ask Yoshi Matsuda when he was here 2 days ago. And it's actually a pretty big development. I'm going to put it up on the screen here shortly because you were here and I didn't want to ask Yoshi that question, but rather get your opinion on it first because I'm the first person that's going to ask this. This is a really big deal, and especially for those that are listening and watching here in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters. The Wrestling Zero national champion and one half of the Wrestling Zero tag team champions, the Prince, Jay Ryan. How does it feel to be the heir apparent, the next Shogun, to Yoshi Matsuda?
That is a real interesting question. I don't know. I was actually the day that he was on
Yes.
live announcing it. I got off about 2 minutes before he actually announced it, and he gives me a call that night, like a personal call, and he's like, "Congratulations." I'm like, "What are you on about?" And he's like, "You're next. You're next, kid." And I'm like I was in shock. I had to go back and watch the live. I watched it about 3 or 4 times, had to replay, and I was just like, "No way," you know? It's interesting to see how far I've come. I've only been in this business for a year and a half.
I was gonna say because you basically debuted last season, right? Early last season, if I'm not mistaken, right? So we're talking 2 seasons,
Yeah,
right?
end of season 2.
So that's 2 seasons. Just about
Yeah,
2 seasons you've been here for. That's it. That's not a long time in this sport. To all of a sudden now be the next Shogun. I mean, that's like basically you're the next hand-picked successor to a man that's one of the greatest wrestlers in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit in Australia. I mean, I know you talk about me. Oh yeah, I watched you. I'm a fan, but I mean, Matsuda. I mean, he's the man that's carried the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit in Australia on its back. I mean, that's what he did, and now you are the man to replace him in less than 6 months from now.
well, I'd it's kinda interesting that it's like I've had so many championship opportunities in the last year, nearly year and a half. I've had so many opportunities. I've had title shots at, Matsu.
You
Um,
wrestled him last year, about 9 months ago.
wrestled him last year in the Shiga Survival match.
Yeah, which Abe Freed was a part of. Correct.
We won match of the year last year, and it was real interesting. Like the fact that in 3 months I got a match with Matsu and ended up being match of the year was what surprised me the most.
How'd that make you feel?
It was interesting because there was a lot of match of the year contenders, Matsu and Hennigan,
Yep.
Johnny Ryder and Matsu. There was so many matches that was interesting, and the fact that Jay Ryan, a guy that came out of nowhere, won the YouTube championship and stepped in the ring with, as you said, one of the greatest guys. It was interesting to see, like, oh, you won match of the year. We actually think that was a really good match, better than a match against Hennigan.
Does that put pressure on you going forward?
It does. It really does. The fact it's not just that it puts me like me becoming the next in line. Me, you know, me having carrying 2 championships puts pressure.
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, we have Comatose here in the chat. And man, he held 3 championships once upon a time, and he had maybe the biggest win of his career, which we'll talk about 2 weeks from now on Sportswire. He's going to be in your chair with, I think, a slew of other BTW stars. I think we're going to make it a BTW night. You heard that first. Somebody can go run with that. But I mean, you hold 2 championships, and now you're the Shogun. What do you think is harder to be able to keep up with, the 2 titles or to be the next Shogun? What do you think is going to be harder for you?
Definitely Shogun. Definitely
Why?
Shogun. Because holding 2 championships. See, here's the thing about holding 2 championships. It's not like it's 2 singles titles. It's I've got one tag team championship, which I've got a partner. I've got someone to help me. As you talked about, old face coming back to help me on that, and the fact that I don't have to defend that alone. I don't have to step in alone for that. And then the other one is I can focus all my attention on the national championship. I can step in the ring. Being Shogun is living up to someone's legacy, living up to a guy that's won 16 championships.
And he's been a 6-time tag champion. He's also been a guy that was an accomplished musician. He has a song that basically he made, a lot of money off. He got a lot of views off, and he's now a man that's a COO. He's also somebody that's helped in terms of business deals. I mean, this is a guy that he's been very successful in his life. He's doing this because he enjoys it. So let me ask you, because it's kind of interesting, because I think the same that you do, is after what we saw in the last episode of Wrestling Zero, I wasn't quite sure we were going to get to this point where you're going to be the next in line, but have you asked him for any advice, and have you spoke to him since the news?
I've spoke a couple of times about the news. I haven't actually told him how I feel about it. I haven't had a 6% chance to go face to face with him. I'm actually leaving that to be an actual on an episode of Wrestling Zero to for the whole world to see how Jay Ryan talks to Matsu, how he feels. Like I've been living a dream. I came from being basically homeless and no money, and to be where I am now is a great opportunity for me to succeed in life.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. And I know we're going to get into some of the wrestling, but I mean, I have to ask this question because you brought up being homeless, and I know there's some people here that might want to hear what you have to say. So, what was that like? And when you were homeless, were you motivated to want to do something with your life? You're still a relatively young man. So, well, first of all, what led you to be homeless, and what led you then to want to go out and be this guy that went from being homeless to now the next shogun? I mean, that's fascinating in itself. We could probably write a book about this, but I can't really write. I mean, Barry Gutman knows me from a million years ago, and he knows me from Brooklyn, and I couldn't write if my life was dependent upon it. So, but I'll ask you regardless about what were those experiences like?
But I me and my family were fighting a lot. It wasn't anything personal between us. It was just stuff got too much.
I'm sorry.
But it's no one to blame. It's generally not, but it's it did motivate me to do something with my life. Instead of just thinking, what am I going to do? Sit there and do nothing with my life. I motivated me, and Matsu kind of. I ran into Matsu one day, and he gave me an opportunity. He gave me everything. He gave me a place to stay. He gave me everything, and I appreciate him so much. Like, there's a lot of stuff that people don't know in the backgrounds that happened a year ago. I come from being a nobody to, not having a house to living in his own house,
Wow.
living, doing his own thing, being the next in line, being someone that everyone's going to have to look at the main event spot. And it's baffling.
That's very baffling. I mean, that's definitely a rather unique or unorthodox way to get to where you are. But I mean, what have you learned from him then as an individual to hopefully get you to succeed in this position, but also maybe throughout the rest of your life?
What about, oh, well, there's a lot I've learned from Matsu. The one thing I have learned was the fact that never take anything for granted. Never take anything for granted. I'm the next in line, I'm the Shogun, but it's the fact that Matsu, everyone knows about Matsu's sickness, and everyone knows he's still, not, he wasn't well a few months
No.
back. He still wrestled. He still stepped in the ring. He still went a full hour in the ring, even though he was doing that. Never take anything for granted, and that's what the takeaway was. He could have stayed, and he could have just retired there, but he didn't.
And that shows the competitor, and that shows his dedication, I think, to this sport. And that's why he is where he is. So let's obviously talk about some current events. We'll certainly come back to that later on. Obviously, being the Shogun is going to be a big deal. He's got some time in the ring. But let's talk about some current events because, boy, I don't know if your family could be the definition of playing the game Family Feud, which is hosted here in America by a guy, Mr. Steve Harvey. Certainly everybody knows him and such. But I have to ask then, for those that are listening and watching here on Sports Radio, you got your cousin, Nate Ryan, who seems like he wants to take everything away from. He's questioned this whole situation with you and Clan Matsuda. And now, who was basically here, made a cameo throughout the show on Saturday, Rob Ryan, who now all of a sudden wants to go out and be a part of PXW. So, like, who's on what side, and what family member you like most right now?
Well, that is very complicated.
I could see
I'm
that. Yeah.
I'm stuck in between. It's very hard for me to, you know, come out of this situation.
Mm,
Um, for those that keep up, Nate pretty much killed off Izanami.
yep.
So it's kind of hard to step into against my cousin or against basically a brother in arms in Matsu. And it's kind of hard because you saw the last match between me and Nate.
I'm about to put it up on the screen. Go ahead. Keep going.
Nate tries to step up to Matsu, and I have to get involved. I have to stand in the middle. I have to go, no, this is not, this is not what's supposed to happen. Not now. This is your match against me, not, you two. And it's interesting because I don't know what my cousin's doing. I don't know what plot he's going for. I thought after Revolution, how he betrayed Arashi and how he just laid down to pin, I thought, oh, I got my cousin back, but apparently not. And now
He
I don't
talked about the fact that he's here for gold. He doesn't care about
know.
anything else, and he's here for gold. And you have something that he obviously desired.
And see, I'm not afraid to put it up. I have said many, many times, whoever wants to step up to me can. I've already always stated it. I've always that I do lives nearly every week. I do an Instagram live every week, and I say the same thing. If you want to step up, come on. I'm not afraid of any challenges. It could be anyone on the roster. It could be my cousin Nate, from my cousin Nate to Richmond to even Mr. Hennigan, Mr. Tom Hennigan himself.
But you see the things he says. He's a family member, but who's more of a family member to you right now then?
See, that's that's the interesting part, because when I was it's funny to think that when I was rivaling with Matsu, Nate was in my corner. Nate was my tag team partner. Nate was the guy that was standing in my corner like, oh, you
Yeah.
can do this. You can, stand against him. And now the roles are reversed. Matsu's in my corner when I'm going against Nate. As you can see here, like Nate starts pushing Matsu, and you can't, I have to step involved. I can't have that happen just before our match.
And we see the war of words, and I mean, we see the back and forth, and I mean, it's gotta, put you in a weird state. I mean, it's just you're in a weird predicament. I mean, almost you make the bloodline kind of go a little bit envious right now. I mean, how do you keep it all together? And then let's talk about the match. We're going to see it here. And what kind of competitor then is your cousin?
Well, it's my mindset's been screwed. Like after this, we talk about I have a backstage. I'm angry at Matsu. I was
I know
angry
we're
at
going to get. I mean, this is all going to play out. We're going to, go through it here the next 20 minutes or so. Yeah, I mean, this is just a complex situation. This wasn't just a match, and it turned into more than something else. And then the irony of it is that you're the next Shogun. I mean, this is just. I mean, I don't even know how your cousin's going to react to all this. But we're seeing your cousin here as a competitor, and you're trying to keep it all in. And in a way, I mean, he's trying to divide you from Matsuda, but at the same time, he doesn't seem to really think much of you either.
Yeah, but the thing is, saying that, Nate, I've competed Nate. This is what my third match, or this is my second one-on-one match. The first ever match was for the title that Matsu's holding right now as we speak. and we had Richmond get involved in that. And I'm on a personal level, I'm annoyed with these interferences. If you go back and see a lot of my title matches, I get there's an interference, whether it's my side or the opponent's side, there's an interference that always kind of screws with my head.
How does that make you feel as a competitor? How does that make you con- contrast your opponents, but also prepare for your
It's
opponent?
it's annoying because I could be facing like Matsu and I could be in the middle of like having something great, having that moment like, oh my god, I'm about to win. And opponent that I probably I don't know, like the Sugar Survival match.
Yep.
I didn't know who was entering the ring. I didn't know they were coming and they blindsided me. How do I prepare for an opponent I didn't know that was coming into the ring? I don't know.
Do you have the mindset basically that you can't trust anybody? There's always somebody out there that could certainly come in, and you just have to kind of block it out and just go out there and compete. I suppose. I don't know. I'm not a wrestler, but I'm just thinking of logic. Is there any way
Look,
at all you have a different mindset with on this?
look in that in that particular thing. How do I
How do
In
you
that
phrase it? Yeah.
particular mind space, I've had rich men get involved with a couple of my matches, few of my matches, and I've been prepared even in this match, even with Matsu at the side of the ring. I was prepared for Rich Man to come in. I was prepared for someone else to come in. This
Well, it
match
didn't
was
happen. Rich Man didn't come in. It was actually this. That was the most bizarre thing. I mean, that's just the bizarre thing. I mean, that's just,
yeah, and that's the thing about that. Like I was prepared for someone on Nate's side to come in and come try to attack me. I was prepared for a whole different bunch of people. Nearly the whole roster. The one person I was let my guard down, not thinking would get involved in my match, not thinking he was going to just stand outside the ring, gets involved, and I'm like angry because I want, you know, haven't got a single match against my cousin for ever. Like I haven't ever gone against my cousin without anyone, getting
does
involved.
that
And
okay, let me ask you then this question. Does that make you feel that you don't really know if who's the better family member?
not real. Well, yeah, in a sense that the thing is, this rivalry is not about a title. Like Nate can say he's going after the gold, and Nate can say, yeah, I'm only after looking for gold, and I'm only looking at this, I'm only looking at that. But the thing is, with me, not about the title. It's about family legacy. It's about he betrayed my family for titles, for gold, for all of that. He betrayed being by my side and winning championship gold over with me. For all we know right now, if he didn't switch sides to Arashi's side, we could be we could be standing there with the tag team gold. I could have talked to Matsu and said, "Hey, you know, let's not, let's see if Nate can.
But couldn't you say that maybe you should be more loyal to Matsuda because you talked about being homeless, and Matsuda's the one that gave you a place to live. He's the one that's basically considering you the next in line to him. Whereas, let me ask you this question, and not to get too personal, but where was your cousin through all this? Where was your cousin through the homelessness? Where was your cousin when your family was going through all those things? It was Matsuda that lifted you up. But what about your cousin? So couldn't you say that maybe you should be more loyal to Matsuda than your own cousin? And your own cousin, where was he when you were going through that horrible instance that you went through?
See, with that there, I kind of kept my family. I kind of pushed my family away during
Right.
that time. I can't blame Nate for not being there during that period because I pushed my family. I stopped talking to my family because I felt like I was a burden on everyone. I felt like, this was just going to be me bringing it on everyone. I can't blame anyone for what I did, what happened. I was the reason why that happened to me. But I got lifted and now I'm back on my
But
feet.
he didn't lift you. But no matter what, though, he didn't lift you.
I mean, that's a fair thing to
He didn't
say.
lift you, and he's in this sport. You're in this sport. I mean, Matsuda is the one that's giving you opportunity after opportunity. He's walked in. We know what happened with Arashi and him, and basically, I understand where you're coming from, but really, at the end of the day, Matsuda's been the one that he's looked out for you.
Well, that's a fair thing to say, but also if everyone looks back at season three.
Yep, last season,
Start
correct.
season three, Nate was the one that welcomed me home. Nate was the one that was by my side. Matsu I was going against Matsu at that
He
point.
was in right. He was in his own fight and everything else.
You talk about how I should be loyal to Matsu, but Matsu and I literally had a rivalry. Basically, when I walked in,
Well,
he
you
said,
wrestled him last year. You wrestled him last year in the Shiga survival match, and there's a lot of blood there too. But he's the one that's now decided you're the Shogun.
and I'm grateful for that. Like I'm not going to take it away from him, and I'm not going. I don't have anything bad to say about Matsu. Like I never,
Obviously,
I never say anything bad about Matsu because Matsu has gone through a lot in his lifetime. He's gone through a
yes.
lot, and as one of the guys that's been by himself, side in and out of the ring, I know what he's gone through, and I'm not angry. Like on a personal level, I'm not mad at Matsu for wanting to go after Nate after what happened at Revolution. I'm not mad. I got mad because I wanted just me and Nate to stand one on one to decide who's the better Ryan, who's the better cousin.
Well, let me ask you then. Your uncle's in the chat. Your uncle's training in PXW, and where do you think your uncle's going to fit into all of this?
But at the moment, personally, I don't think he will fit in this. I think he's going to be doing his stuff on PXW.
Right.
He, he's going to do his own thing at the
Have you
moment.
asked him about this at all? Has he volunteered his opinion on the situation?
At the moment, no. It's kind of he's doing his own thing. He's training up. He's trying to become a star. He's kind of leaving that me and Nate to do our own thing for now. He's kind of just pushing me and Nate's thing for aside until he trains, till he kind of figures out what he's going to do. PXW is our
Training is
training regimen.
yeah, it's kind of like the NXT to WWE now, correct?
Yeah. So let's saying that it's our NXT, but our Stampede and Thunder are our SmackDown and Raw type of thing.
Yep.
So right now, even if he wanted to get involved, unless the commissioners say anything about it, Ungar or Carnival say anything about it, he can't cut. There is no possible way he can kind of bring himself
But with
up.
your own family situation, as we're here with the national champion and one half of the Wrestling Zero Tag Team Champions, the Prince J. Ryan. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. And thank you so much, everybody here, for tuning in. And if you are here, please support our friends at Wrestling Zero. They're on Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. And we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. So please continue to support us. And that includes you too as well, D, and everybody else out there. But okay, but your uncle, we know the family situation. Has he asked you for advice, or will you give him advice in going into this now? Because the irony of it is that you're the guy that actually has more experience than your uncle in the strange twist of this in the wrestling world. So, do you think that you'll wind up talking to your uncle at all or giving him any advice as now he works his way into PXW and obviously looks to have a career in this circuit?
There is NXT, saying that PXW is our NXT. What has happened on NXT? Let's take a look at that for a second. There is a lot of big superstars that have showed up to NXT. Cody Rhodes, all of
I'm
them
watching
have.
right now on Raw. Bronson Reed was a big part of NXT. Braun Breaker was in the show on Raw earlier a little while ago, was the Intercontinental Champion. Damian Priest, right? Rhea Ripley. So no question. NXT is a huge part of what the WWE has become. Where would the WWE be without NXT? I don't know that question, but I don't know what the future will be with Wrestling Zero and PXW, but there's no question this could be a new venture and more for fertile territory to help grow the Wrestling Zero brand.
And that's the thing, like, we can never say never. I could always show up. I could always show up to PXW, because let's think of it like that. I am basically one of Matsu's biggest, biggest allies, and
Yep.
it's never say never. If he needs me in PXW, if someone shows up and he gets jumped or something, never say never. So
And
I
he's
could.
out and on top of that, he's out in less than 6 months. He's out in less than 6 months. He's not going to want to end his career on a sour note. He's going to want to go out there and finish his career on a strong note. We're seeing you and your cousin once again, and we see this, and I mean, just talk about what's going on right here.
And that's the thing. Like, with this, I'm trying to keep Nate away from Matsu, because I'm worried what Matsu's going to do to Nate when he gets his hands on him. The danger in this, and this is why I've told him he can come to me. He can, if he wants a match for a title. He doesn't. I personally think he doesn't deserve a title with Matsu after what happened with Arashi, and like me getting jumped in that match. I don't think Nate should go after Matsu, because I'm not trying to protect Matsu from Nate. I'm trying to protect Nate from Matsu. I'm still trying to be a cousin. I'm trying to protect my own family from the stuff that Matsu can do. I have experienced in a match what Matsu can do towards me.
And you did in Shiga Survival, and Ace Reed just found that out. So you know better than anybody what Matsuda is capable of. Essentially, that's not 3 stages of hell. It's almost 4 stages of hell. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen.
And the fact that it's the first ever me and Matsu's first ever Shiga Survival match. It was us two, the first ever two to do a Shiga Survival match in Wrestling Zero. And the hell I went through versing Matsu, the animosity, the fact that it was, by the end of the day, it was, you saw the blood, you saw the pain, you saw me and Matsu stood face to face towards the end. We were one on one. It wasn't one sided or the other towards the end. It was, we stood our ground, and that's what I respect about Matsu. He stood his ground against me, and
Yeah.
he's given me a fair shot at the title. He's given me, I've had 3 shots against him
Yep.
for the Wrestling Zero Chain. And it's fair to think that he's done a lot in this industry. And that's why I'm worried what will happen if Matsu will go after Nate. If Nate gets under Matsu's skin, I am worried what happened. We all saw what happened when Arashi did that, when Arashi did what he did. Just imagine what happened with Nate if Matsu had got his hands
That's
on him.
a question that we're all going to certainly wonder here. But we are on Sportswire Radio, and I want to certainly get to people in the chat. And obviously, we see the back and forth. I'm going to pull this off the screen for now, because what I want to do is actually, if you are here, I'd like you to hit the sub button for our friends at Wrestling Zero, because they need to get subscribers. I'm basically at this point on my road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get them on their road to 100 subscribers. I see you here in the chat. We got a bunch of people. If you can, please hit the sub button for Wrestling Zero. They're at wrestling_0. And we're going to have more coverage tomorrow. I'm excited. We got some great shows ahead on Sportswire Radio. We had just last week might have been the greatest week in Sportswire Radio history. Mr. Matsuda and Ace Reed were here. Ace has been a long-time staple on Sportswire. D'Angelo LaFlame was here yesterday. We had on Ledger Shade, just one of the most iconic wrestlers in I would not even say backyard wrestling history, but in wrestling history. The IMF was here into the Hall of Fame. We had some just amazing people, Sean Jovi. And speaking of WCE, we have Mr. Brightside tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern time. We've also got Maxwell Reeves is back. He's in the house at 6:30. So you're getting two for the price of one on Sportswire Radio. And you're going to get Mr. Brightside. And why is that important with Mr. Brightside? Because WCE, get this, WCE, which has been a very, to some people, a controversial company on this platform, just had one of their most successful shows in their history, but one of the most successful shows in backyard wrestling history. They hit nearly 3,000 views for their most recent show, which came out yesterday, Wisconsin Apocalypse. And we are going to celebrate that. Without WCE, we wouldn't be on this road to 1,000 subscribers. And WCE is back. WCE is going to, looks like, be here for a long time on Sportswire. We are celebrating that. We are celebrating our community for the great things that we are doing. WCE has been a part of that. We've got James Taylor is back here at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Tennessee Backyard Wrestling is here this coming Thursday. So we've got some great shows ahead. And all you have to do is just keep coming down, hitting that sub button. And I can assure you, Sportswire Radio is the only platform where all wrestling matters. But let's get to the chat here. A lot of people want to say hello. I want to get to them, and I want to come back to some other things here for the next 45 minutes. Zilla, who is a big fan, I know, of you guys, and Zilla actually is a thing. She is a person. She is our resident chat expert. She is obviously maybe the greatest commenter in the history of all wrestling matters and anywhere in wrestling history. We certainly love Zilla. And Zilla, what was the name that I called you on Saturday's show? Remind me again, and I'll bring it right back up. Yes, thank you for that. I just saw Zilla in the BTW chat in Oregon, and it was good to see you there. Your uncle's in the house, and we appreciate your uncle tuning in. We just spoke about your uncle, and thank you. I appreciate that for you calling me an awesome guy. You can let Dee Dee know that. Hopefully, Dee Dee will see that I'm an awesome person. I don't know if I am an awesome person. I don't know if I'm a lot of things, but if I can be an awesome person to somebody out there, I would really appreciate that. So thank you very much. But yes, hello to Zilla. My buddy Barry, I can't believe Barry Gutman tuned in. My buddy Barry Gutman from Brooklyn. Good old Brooklyn. Barry Gutman is like, what has gotten into you? What is you? You know, he saw me last. I was wearing a baseball cap with, a clean shaven. I'm a baby. Now I'm a man with followers and money, and that's why he's here. But thank you, Barry, for tuning in and hitting the sub button for me. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. Yes, we support Clan Matsuda. Zilla's thing is she supports people, whether it doesn't matter if they're a heel or a babyface. Yes, what up? Want to say hello to my buddy Drake Golddragon, who was a huge part of the chat here yesterday. He is the reigning, defending Resurrection Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He was their longest running champion. Their company is the national champion, but now he's the world champion. Yes, it was awesome. Des, thank you. Yes, it was nice. It was nice speaking to your uncle, but your uncle didn't really speak on Saturday's show. I think we spoke after the show. We said hello to each other. That was awesome. You know what? That's definitely good. My buddy Comatose, who had a huge win defeating RJS, one of the biggest wins, I think, of the season, and one of the greatest hype packages I've seen in BYW really this year. Just a phenomenal package. Credit to our friends BTW. We're going to celebrate BTW 2 weeks from now because we can't celebrate it next Monday. You know why we can't celebrate it next Monday? Why you can't come back on next Monday? Because my birthday's next Monday, and I like to celebrate my birthday on Sports. But then you can come on Sportswire. Comatose can come on. You can roast me on my birthday, but I can't interview you because I want you to basically make fun of me on my birthday. But everybody might want to make fun of me on my birthday. But you can come on if you like, but anybody's welcome. I'll be here pretty much the whole night next Monday. It is my birthday, October 7th. So please join me. But the BTW people will be here the following Monday. James Taylor, who's here Wednesday night, he is the host of the Nemesis Sessions. He is now putting out his legacy, his greatest hits catalog of his backyard wrestling career. He is the owner of ROEW. Want to say hello to my buddy Il Drago, who is the next breakout star in our circuit in the underground scene. We're all doing great, and I'm excited to be back on Sportswire, but I'm always back on Sportswire. I live on Sportswire. I'm just a figment of people's imagination. I'm not a real thing. I don't exist. I mean, I hate to disappoint you, people like DD, but I don't exist. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Barry remembers me from Brooklyn, but it was, we were in, Sheepshead Bay, wherever it was. And, but I'm not thing. I'm like an AI version now, but who knows? But let's move on here. I'm trying a career. While you fix your phone, I'm trying a career at stand-up comedy. Yes. Hello there. Malozilla. You got my support. You're awesome, and you can't wait to see more how big you get. Yes, you're a big man. Um, Yes, sir. Barry did like the chats. Barry did tell me he's trying to follow this up. But Barry, since years ago, it's not politics now. It's me talking backyard and underground wrestling. So the days of State Senator David Starobin have now morphed into speaking with Australian backyard wrestlers and hopefully saying some nice things to our friends like DD and having people like Il Drago and people from GTS and all these other places. So if you're not a wrestling fan, it's all good, but I definitely thank you anyway. Yes, no problem. Also, yes, please support me on my birthday. Yes, support me. Oh, you put that there. You put that. That was very nice
Yeah.
of you. How about this, ladies? Our guest is actually telling people to support me on my birthday. So I know people like DD, they're going to be tuned out. They ain't going to want to tune in. But I can tell you that what a gentleman you are. Maybe Master Matsuda, he knew what he was getting himself into. Obviously, thank you, so kind. And yeah, Barry's laughing. But yeah, because David Starobin was mentioned, and David Starobin knows nothing about this stuff. But that's okay. You're having fun. But all right. So obviously, I'll come back to some of stuff. But I wanted to ask you, what's your thoughts on what Kumi is going through right now? Kumi has got stage 2 ovarian cancer, and I have to ask you that. What's your thoughts on what that situation is? Right, that's a very difficult situation, and I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Now, as I said, being next to Matsu, it's affecting. I can see it. It's affecting him. What
Sure,
it's.
he talked
I'm
about
not
it here on
gonna.
Sportswire on Saturday. Yes.
I'm not gonna go big into it. It's him and the bosses. It's to all of us. It's hurting us all in the chat. Like when I go on my Wrestling Zero chat, it's hurting all of us because we're all worried. We're all sitting in there worried about the boss, someone that made the industry, she's the reason why, you know, I'm getting the opportunity that I'm getting. She's the reason why, you know, Matsu's the champion. She's the reason why all of this is happening. It's the fact that she's done so much for us, and now it's time to think about what she's going through. She's what her mental capacity is like. And
Have you spoken to her?
I've spoken to the boss. I've actually privately messaged and said, "Hey, you've got our support." And like, she's a very strong person. And I've seen the get wells, and I've seen all that. And I like, from Clan Matsuda, from Jay Ryan. Thank you. And it's not my place to speak anymore on it because it's
Okay, no,
not.
I had to ask you because it's a topic and such for sure. Okay, so we'll get into that another time. But what's your thoughts now on your new tag team partner, Johnny Ryder, an old face that's now a part of Clan Matsuda? What's your thoughts on that?
Now, interesting enough, if everyone wanted to go back to let's go back to season 3, right? If you actually watched it carefully, me and Nate were the ones that injured him. So the fact that I'm in Clan Matsuda and Johnny Ryder shows up, and me and Johnny are kind of like respectfully towards each other. Like there was no hate, there's no, arguments, nothing. It's just me and Johnny were like, all right, past is the past. And here you see like the boss putting me in charge of this match between these two. And it was a dream. It was like being, you know, in the ring as a special guest for not only just Matsu, but Johnny Ryder for the first time he's back in nearly a year.
Yeah, were you surprised at the match he was able to pull off with Matsuda being gone as long as he did? I asked Matsuda that question. What was your opinion on that?
I was genuinely surprised. I thought Johnny would be a little bit, a little bit tired, something like that. I actually spotted him backstage that day. I actually, spotted him backstage, and I'm like, what's he doing here? And the fact that he walks out and to find out he's the one that's hit Matsuda's verse, and it was a general shock. I thought Johnny was, gonna, was there for support with everything that was going on. No, turns out he's returned.
How do you think that changed the direction of the group now that he's in it?
Well, I know the other day
I
Matsu
asked
was
about that. Yeah.
talked about Ragnar being out. And that was the thing. Like with Ragnar out, we don't really, Matsu doesn't have the time to defend the tag team titles with me. I know how I was talking about how I have a partner and how I've got some help and stuff like that. Oh yeah, but that's the thing. Having a partner is a big part of that, and I need someone that can put their full focus on the tag team titles, someone that can stop and actually help me with those things. Because of the fact that if Matsu can't do it, who is? Who is going to stand by my side and kind of help me defend those? And the fact that Johnny shows up and now we've got him to help me defend it, that's a good implication of what's going on.
All right, fair enough. Okay. What's your thoughts on Ragnar and the situation there?
My thoughts on Ragnar, I think it's well deserved that he should defend his title. I got an opportunity to defend the YouTube championship by myself the other, while back. And I think Ragnar being a YouTube champion is one of the greatest decisions of all time, personally. He deserves it. After the match he did at Revolution, he deserves it. And not gonna lie, I kind of had that mindset of if he didn't leave or like not Wrestling Zero, but if he didn't leave, the what is it, Stampede,
Yep.
and went to Thunder, I would have probably put my title on the line against him. I
Hmm.
probably would have asked him personally for a one-on-one match for my title because I think that's how well he's deserved of how well he's, earned his spot in Wrestling Zero. How well he's earned
Well,
his
I
spot.
see you've got some things that you're going through, so we'll keep this for a little while longer. But I want to give a big plug because my buddy Barry Gutman's in the chat, and he's got a business. If you want to reach out to me for it, you can do that first of all through my Facebook at Tom Bryce. But he's got a thing called Amazing Candles. And it's obviously with Halloween coming up here. They've got some amazing Halloween candles. They got candy corn. They got also so many great other flavors. They got caramel corn. And, if you're, out there and somebody like Dee Dee, you want some Halloween candles, maybe I'll have to get you one. But if you do want, you got 6 slots for the candle melt. There'll be $6. He's got chocolate pumpkin pie. He's got, let's see, he's making candles as we speak. That apple cider. He's got hopefully not gin and juice to quote Snoop Dogg, but he's got caramel corn. He's got some other great stuff here. And Barry's always a very engaging young man. He's got Maui pineapple. He's got candied apple. Hopefully not like candy asses like The Rock. That's for Big Man Cam next week on the show. Sweet Georgia peach. Somebody out there who's in the South might like that cherry bomb. Strawberry jam. No, he's not talking about dispensaries, but he got some chocolate pumpkin pie like candles. And we appreciate Barry for all that he's done for us and amazing candles. And if you have any friends, family that loves candles, please invite them to the page. You can do that through me or follow Barry on Facebook at Barry Gutman. That's Guttman. He is from the friendly confines of Kings County, Brooklyn, New York. And yes, we welcome all of our great members to the group. And I'm a member of the group. So thank you very much for that. And Barry just started the group. And Barry is a very engaging young man. He's a big man. So thank you, Barry, for that. Great stuff there. Okay, so I see you fixing the phone. Let me ask you some other general questions. Ace Reed. Ace Reed, what do you think he brings to the table with Wrestling Zero? And especially now, what we saw from him and Matsuda, they're back and forth. They're 2 wars, Shiga Survival. What do you think Ace Reed brings to the Wrestling Zero roster?
He's bringing a lot. 1 second, please. Got to get something. I've got to go charge
That's
up.
okay. I'll be able to buy time. I do this every day. So obviously, Mr. Ryan's going to be here for a little while longer. He's got some issues he's fixing with his phone. We'll get to a few more questions. But again, I want to talk about a couple things. I'm going to be here tomorrow. 9 o'clock Eastern time with Mr. Brightside of WC. I'm going to be here 6:30 p.m. with Maxwell Reeves of BCW Pro. I'm going to be here 10:30 p.m. Wednesday night with James Taylor, RBW owner. Thursday night, I'm going to be here about 10 o'clock Eastern time with Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, a slew of their stars. We're going to talk about Ledger Shade, the backyard wrestling version of Hulk Hogan. We're going to talk about his return to the ring. If you're here on Sportswire Radio, continue to support, hit the sub button. Thank you, everybody, for all of your success. I'm also going to have my 1,000th video Thursday, and we're celebrating that. My birthday is Monday, so if you want to come here, you want to say hello, you want to come on the stream, you want to definitely talk about a number of different things, please make sure you go out there and support us. Anything that we can do, you have a suggestion. And Champ, you are here, you are live. I get that we're having some problems with the phone. What do you think Ace Reed brings to the table in Wrestling Zero before we obviously close the show soon? Yes, Champ. I think we've lost you. I will obviously, if anybody else has anything else you want to say in the chat, because I have a feeling that we're having some technical difficulties. We apologize with the Champ. But Barry, I'll put the link up in the Facebook group very shortly, and I'll timestamp it for you. But we hope that Mr. Ryan comes back on. But also, if you are here on Sportswire Radio, I'm going to be back here Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time. So if you want to talk after SmackDown, you want to talk about Raw, you want to talk about what's went on tonight, you want to talk about NFL, you want to sell some Halloween candles like Barry's got, you're more than welcome to hang out with me and much, much more. So we're going to give a couple of more minutes. He's left. I have a feeling he's not coming back, but we'll see. Yes, that's okay, Mr. Ryan. If you're going to leave us, I appreciate that. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Ryan? I know you're in the YouTube chat. I know that technical difficulties are a thing in the world. Understandable. Definitely hope you come back. I'll give you a couple minutes, but if not, I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in on a rather interesting night. We did at least get a chance to hear the story of Wrestling Zero's Jay Ryan. He is the Prince. Yeah, if you can come back on in like 2 minutes, if you're going to come back on now, we'll finish the rest of the show. I mean, I got 15 minutes. We can, I see you're going through technical difficulties, but hop back on and, I ain't going nowhere. I mean, listen, this is an AI version of me. I mean, it's not like I'm a real thing. I mean, all I do is sit here on YouTube. They're like I'm an actual human being. So, yeah, come on. I'll ask you a few more questions, and we'll say sayonara. Does Matsuda say sayonara, or is that a different language? But, yes, be that as it may, if you are here, I also have an internet radio station, which we're actually simulcasted on right now. It's sportswireradio.org. It's via the Listen Live button. And also, if you want to follow Wrestling Zero, they're on Instagram. And Barry, if you're on Instagram, drop me a line. I'm on Instagram. Anybody else that's not following me on Instagram, that's their page. If you want to follow me, look, that's my Instagram page. How about this guy here? He's got 1,644 followers. Did I realize I had that many people following me right now these days? Yes, I have that many people following me, but you can see some of my stuff, some of my reels. Yes, people actually do seem to watch them. You seem to watch them for whatever reason. You see a lot of them are viewed, and I appreciate that goodwill, and definitely continue to support me on a number of different platforms. I'm not sure why anybody would want to, but yes, we'll give you a couple minutes. I can definitely give you a few minutes, and we'll finish the show here. Yeah, Barry. Barry, it's kind of funny, right? Who would have guessed 12 years ago that I would actually be a YouTube star? Barry, it's kind of funny. I mean, maybe more people know me now than David Starobin all those years ago when we were working for David Starobin in the government office there. I mean, Didi's probably like, whatever going on. You want to? Well, I think he's going to pop on, Barry. But I'll drop you the YouTube link when I'm off the stream. But you should come on, Barry, for my birthday on Monday. Barry, I want you to pop on for my birthday Monday. I'm telling you. You should come on to Sportswire. And this is an open invitation. You're out there. You want to come on the show and you want to say something to me. You want to say something funny. You want to roast me. I want you to be here. I'll probably be here about the same time, about 9:30. I'll be here probably about 9:30 Monday. Let's say 9 o'clock, something like that. So if you want to hang out with me, you want to do something, I'll drop you the link later. I'll find you on Instagram. But you should come on, Barry. You should come on YouTube on Monday. And you should roast me for my birthday. What a small world there. But Barry's back. And kind of like Eminem, guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? But yes, we are waiting for Jay Ryan, who's now the Prince, who's the King of the Shadow, whatever his name might be. But he's coming on here, we think. But yes, all great stuff. We appreciate that. You did. You followed me. Yes, you followed me on Instagram. Yes, thank you for appreciating that. I appreciate that you were showing actually people that I'm actually doing a good job. Very kind of you. Barry's like, I can't believe he's actually a somebody. Isn't it funny though, Barry, that I think more people know me probably than David Starobin? I'm sure he wouldn't appreciate hearing that very much, our former employer. I'm sure that he would not. Maybe DD would probably appreciate that because it would show that I'm actually a relevant person. But I'm pretty relevant, I think. Most people watch me on this platform. But yeah, we're waiting for the champion, and we definitely want to support those that support us. So that's my page. We'll come back here and go like this. But yes, we are here. We are waiting for Jay Ryan. He is definitely a prince, but his Wi-Fi is not a prince. He's definitely probably needing maybe let's say some maybe some Shogun like Oyabun, some Oyabun like Wi-Fi. He probably needs that. He needs some Oyabun. What does the Oyabun mean actually for the audience? I would like to know, what does that mean? Does that mean you get like superpowers? But I thought those superpowers should go and help Jay Ryan's pick his Wi-Fi. I think he was here. I think David Starobin was in one. He's actually, I interviewed him, David Starobin. I interviewed him. I want to say I interviewed him during COVID. I interviewed David Starobin like 2 or 3 times. I interviewed him during COVID, and then I interviewed him on I want to say before that, one of the shows I did. It's on SoundCloud somewhere. It was before I went on YouTube, but he hasn't been on YouTube since. Not at least with my platform. I don't even know if he, would really tune into something like this. But that's okay. We appreciate everybody tuning in. But we'll give Jay Ryan a couple minutes. If not, we'll say thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate all of you. But yes, and if you have any other memories, and yes, thank you, Rob Ryan. And when can we see you in the ring, by the way? Was there a timetable, Rob Ryan, for that? But obviously, we're having fun. But yeah, okay, you can't seem to join. Thank you very much. Is there anything else anybody wants to say to me tonight? I would appreciate that. But if you are here, go follow Wrestling Zero. Go follow Barry Gutman one more time. Amazing Candles. I'll be back here once again. I'll be here at 8 o'clock. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Mr. Brightside tomorrow. I'm going to be here with Maxwell Reeves, 6:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. I'll be here coming up Central Standard Time with TBW on Thursday. I'll be here with James Taylor. I'll be here every day. Listen, I'm your AI version. And Barry, is that really you under the mask? But all right, I guess unfortunately you can't join. Sorry, Mr. Ryan. We'll have to finish this at a different time. Maybe we can get you and Matsuda to do something next month. But thank you so much to everybody who did tune in. You got a chance to see the story of Wrestling Zero, at least get a chance to see most of what I think Jay Ryan has to offer. We'll get to the last comment. I'm still training. I will not be getting in the ring yet because I got an injury. Oh, well, I'm sorry about the injury. I hope you feel better. Definitely, it's definitely translated to, let's just say, Mr. Ryan's internet and Wi-Fi. But fair enough. Barry, good to see you. Oh, one more thing. Let me go. Azilla, you got something to say? What do I think of the Anarchy King Ledger Shade coming back to TBW? I think it was one of the greatest moments in, I think, backyard wrestling history. And a cheap plug, by the way. Thank you for saying that because Mr. Shade was here. And I know a lot of people know who he is. And he was such a big deal, Ledger Shade, on Sportswire Radio, that we actually had an anthology. Yes, Barry, I was part of a wrestling movie. And I was a part of such a movie that I think that you should tune into it right here. As a matter of fact, if you want to go and see what Ledger Shade had to say on Sportswire Radio, how about a cheap little plug for little old yours truly? That's right. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. You can go there and follow Sportswire Radio and check us out because you got that Ledger Shade interview right there for us. So all you have to do is go like this. There's the interview with the legendary Ledger Shade, and you can see the man right before he was coming back to Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. The Hulk Hogan of the backyard wrestling circuit. Yes, we're not talking about an AI version of Ledger Shade, an AI version of Tom Bryce. You've got the backyard wrestling version of Hulk Hogan there. Yes, DD, I'm actually a somebody because Ledger Shade was here. And he was wearing for us, Barry, that Brooklyn. How about that? He was enjoying himself. This man who just was in TBW, get this, he spent 3 hours and 39 minutes on Sportswire. When has he ever done that? I mean, but he comes to Sportswire because he knows, just like Barry David Starobin did, how he needed to get elected to the state senate, that he needed Tom Bryce. Well, Ledger Shade knew that in order for him to come back to wrestling, he needed Tom Bryce in Sportswire, and he spent 3 hours and 39 minutes with him, and you can see some of that movie right here, the never seen before anthology of Ledger, and it was on Sportswire. It all was there, and you got to see all of it here. The chapter 12, all 18 chapters. Yeah, Barry, pretty impressive. I went from the guy that was going around with you and doing different little things and working in the government for a couple months to now being a part of movies. The Scorsese, the De Niro. You got the Oliver Stone and the Tim Burton of the backyard underground wrestling circuit, the director himself, the one and only Mr. Ledger Shade. And boy, the Shade himself, the Anarchy King, was live on Sportswire. It was one for the ages. But yeah, there you go. But that was great. Go out and check it. Barry, I'll follow you on Instagram in a minute. But thank you, my good friends, for tuning in. Zilla, I'm going to be here twice tomorrow. You'll definitely enjoy it. I can't wait to see you, and I can't wait to see everybody else. And if you are here, thank you for tuning in. Barry, I just followed you on Instagram. And you need to get some. Barry, you only got 380 followers. You got to move up on the followers. So you got to definitely do better on that. We'll definitely help you out for sure. We'll take care of it. You got to GoFundMe. You're on Discord. I got to put you on the Discord link. And Barry's mom is here. I think I remember you. Did I meet Barry? Did I meet your mom those years ago? I think I did. I think I did in the old Starobin elections. I think I did. Well, thank you, Mrs. Gutman, for tuning in. I definitely appreciate that. I'd hit the sub button for me. I would appreciate it. Did I meet you all those years ago? I'm trying to remember. Did we meet? I don't remember. Maybe we did meet. I think we did. Yes, we did meet once or twice. You know, it's been so long ago. It just feels like this is your life. How long was Ledger Shade out of the wrestling? He was out of wrestling for a year. His last match was against Ronnie Brady, the West Memphis Kid, the owner of Resurrection Wrestling, who's going to be back on Sportswire, by the way, very soon. And I don't remember either, but I look a lot different than I did 12 years ago because I have mutton chops. I have long hair. I don't think that would have worked for David Starobin, me having long hair and mutton chops when he's a state senator. But that's a different conversation. But thank you for tuning in. I plugged the business. I plugged Amazing Candles. I hope you enjoyed it. And, I really hope that you're here with us. Anything I can do for the business, please let me know. I will definitely do that. And, hit the sub button for me. Thank you, Mom, for doing that. We need all the support we can get. And please give me a good word of advice to anybody else out there. And I will definitely take care of that. And I'll see you, Zilla, twice tomorrow. And I hope you feel better in football. Obviously, we're talking about Australian rules, rugby, right? And thank you for that. Yes, thank you, Mom. I don't remember meeting. I think I did meet you, but it was so long ago, and I've been on YouTube for the last several months. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to you, DD, for definitely tuning in. You definitely got those DDs. I'm gonna be maybe looking at one day, hopefully on a stream. Well, I'll just say nothing else. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voice figuratively and literally with all wrestling matters. And Mrs. Gutman, you should be here next Monday for my birthday. I'm going to let people roast me on the air for my birthday. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. So my gift to you and everybody else is to have fun at my expense. Yes, and Jay Ryan, you better be here next Monday on my birthday. And I hope that you'll be here to roast me. And don't cook me, though, to be the roast, because I actually would prefer not to be the roast. I don't look like a roast. But thank you, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global relation to the Sportswire Radio. Where all of it. Yes, thank you, Barry, for the funny emojis. Thank you for those funny emojis. And yes, please, if you can, one more time. And I'll put it up because I'm really trying to get every single subscriber personal. But I really can. That's my link on YouTube. If you have a chance, there you go. Thank you, Mom, for the sub. 65 subscribers away from 1,000. I can't thank you enough. And I'll put the link in the chat, Barry, later on. And thank you, everybody. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. On the number one.